Welcome to the 2024 R1 feature review. Today we cover the core modules followed immediately by retail and distribution editions in separate meetings. In 2 days we review construction and manufacturing editions. 2024 R1 is available today. Download the latest version of the software from the Acumatica community and view the release notes with detailed information. During this series of meetings, we provide a Cliff Notes version of the release notes. The release notes also includes important deprecation announcements, such as support for authorized.net. Here are several features we will cover over this session, but there are over 350 updates. Many of these updates are important items, but they are specific use cases, so we will not cover them here. As a leader in usability, we continue to focus on making improvements to streamline workflows, reduce the number of clicks, and make Acumatica easier and faster to implement, even for non-programmers. To accomplish this, resources across all areas and vertical solutions have been working on converting to the modern UI. More work will continue until we launch in 25 R1. Let's get started by looking at some of the usability improvements in 24 R1. Using generic inquiry results and other generic inquiries. GIs are the source of data for many visualizations and workflows. Inquiries provide data that is used in dashboards, pivot tables, notifications, business events, and external systems. In 2024 R1, we added the ability for generic inquiry results to be used as the source in other inquiries. This opens up a large number of potential uses, such as computing ratios and percentages. Here's a sample structure. Notice that the fourth generic inquiry is formed using the result of other GIs as well as original data. Parameters can be passed through the structure. I will demonstrate how we can calculate the company's current ratio and post it to a financial dashboard. To do this, I create GIs to summarize the current assets and current liabilities. Then I use these inquiries to compute the current ratio. In my third query, I bring in the master financial period table to help me convert the financial period to a date. This is going to be useful for processing a dashboard. I started by building an inquiry to gather the current assets by period using the GL history table. This is the same table used by ARM to generate my formatted financial reports. Next, I added my conditions, so I only get current assets, and grouped them by financial period. In my results grid, I use my caption field to label the beginning period balance. When I run my report, I can see the data that will be available to other inquiries. I did the same for the liabilities, and when I run this query, the results are similar. My current ratio query brings all this together. Notice the table selector in 2024 R1 contains both data tables and generic inquiries. In my results grid, I can select fields from my prior inquiries and use them in formulas. When everything's all set, I can run the inquiry, and my current ratio is calculated. This data is available for visualizations. On my controller dashboard, I use the output to show a graph of my current ratio over time. The configuration of the dashboard is similar to normal inquiries. If I change anything on a GI used as a source of another GI, then I receive a warning so I don't accidentally change the results unknowingly. The Marketing Manager dashboard demonstrates another application, calculating percentages. This win ratio is calculated by assigning a value of 1 to wins and a 0 to losses, and then averaging the total to show a ratio. Using different generic inquiries provides flexibility to display trends over time and calculate wins percentages grouped by deal size, product group, salespeople, and many other criteria. Within 24 R1, generic inquiries can be used to calculate ratios and percentages. The output of layered GIs can be used for most visualizations and workflows, except for business events. That's coming later. When you export a generic inquiry via XML, the system automatically includes all of the underlying sources for the GI you are exporting. Also, keep in mind that access rights are assigned based on the current inquiry. Information in the included GIs will appear regardless of whether the person has access to those generic inquiries. Approvals allow you to control document changes and record acceptance details. In 24R1, we added sales order invoices to the list of documents that could be approved. We also added approval and rejection reasons to financial documents you see highlighted in green. Acumatica's no-code approval engine allows me to configure approval workflows using assignment rules. Rules can have multiple steps, conditions, and approvers, so you can design the workflow that meets your business needs. Users can also delegate approvals when they're on vacation. Assume I want to review and approve sales order invoices. I want the sales director to approve big discounts. I want accounting to review non-income accounts. And I want two people to sign off on invoices that are very big. I don't want to hassle approvers to review SO invoices that were generated by sales orders with shipments because the sales orders were already reviewed. This sounds complicated, but it's easy to accomplish with the help of Acumatica and 24R1. Now I can create an approval map for sales order invoices. I create a step for sales review. If approved by sales, I send it to accounting. First, I check for large discounts, but only if the invoice was not created from a sales order with a shipment. In the rule actions, I can pick somebody related to the document or a specific team or person. When approved, I complete this step, bypassing the need for a second approval. Next, I check for accounts outside a specific range. Notice I collect all approvals in this step. Finally, I check for extra large transactions. Using a new feature in 2024R1, I add a second approver so that two approvals are required in this situation. In Sales Order Preferences, I select and activate the approval map I just created and assign a notification template. Here's a large invoice with one line with a really big discount. This document should require 3 approvals. When I take the document off hold, I see approval is required. I can approve this one as Maxwell Baker because I'm part of the sales team. Notice that a history of the approval is recorded. Next, I log in as Layla and approve the large document amount. Finally, I log in as Michael Andrews and complete the approval. Many documents have the ability to require approval and rejection reasons. As you can see in this approval map, an example of this is my expense claims. Now, when I reject an expense claim, I must supply a reason. In 24R1, we enhanced approvals by enabling the sales order invoice screen, adding approval and rejection reasons for financial documents, and simplifying the way that you can add multiple employees to an approval. Business event enhancements. Business events enable customers to automate processes and workflows without coding. Events can be triggered based on a schedule, an action, or data changes. When business events fire, they validate conditions and can trigger notifications, import scenarios, actions, and more. In 2024R1, we improved trigger conditions by allowing formulas and enabling the use of dialog box inputs within business events. To demonstrate, I will build a business event that allows users to notify others about opportunities using an action on the opportunities screen. The action will show a dialog box so the user can select the recipient, type of notification, and add a short message. The values in the dialog box will be used by the business event. Configuring this does not require any coding. I need to create 2 things, a customization with a dialog box triggered by a new action, and a business event to utilize the dialog box values to create a notification. Within my opportunity screen, I create a dialog box with a combo box, a text editor field, and an employee selector. Next, I create an action to open the dialog box using the settings you see here. After I publish my customization, the dialog box values become available to add to business events. In this example, I choose Trigger by Action and select the Share Opportunity action that includes the dialog box. This business event will only trigger when the user selects email. I would need to create 2 additional business events for SMS and push notification scenarios. 2024R1 also supports formulas and trigger conditions. In this example, I can prevent people from sending notifications for opportunities that are not in the open state. A better way of accomplishing this would be to create a workflow and disable the share action unless the state's open. In my email notification, I include a link to the opportunity and the text from the dialog box. Now I can share the opportunity and the system will create an email to the person I specified. If I move to an opportunity that is marked as 1, the share opportunity functionality will not fire because of the additional condition I added with the formula. Business events are a key part of no-code automation. The addition of trigger condition formulas and dialog box values will help business process experts accomplish their goals. Flexible task association. Tasks allow employees to efficiently manage work. For example, if I have an opportunity where I send a quote, then I can create a follow-up task to check in. When I reach the prospect by phone, he says to call back tomorrow, so I can easily create a follow-up task as a reminder. But let's assume I wanted to create a task for a coworker to follow up and link it to one of these tasks. Prior to 24R1, this is not possible. Here's an opportunity with a quote and a follow-up task. Since the task is due today, it appears on the salesperson dashboard I created to prioritize my daily activities. I click the task and call my prospect, but the prospect says he needs more information to decide and tells me to call back after receiving the information. After I complete the phone call, I need to enter my notes and create new tasks to help keep my opportunity on track. I have two options with my task. I can complete it and create a new one by clicking the complete and follow-up action, or I can update the due date on my current task. In addition, I need to create a task for marketing to provide information that the prospect needs before accepting the quote. When creating this new task for marketing in 2024R1, I have the option to link it to another task using the parent activity field, which is now editable. Now, when I reopen my task, I can see the status of other activities that impact my ability to complete my actions. The new task association feature makes it easier to link tasks and efficiently manage work processes. In this segment, we review several enhancements related to financial modules.
Ability to reverse cash purchases. In previous versions, users could create a cash purchase document to record expenses which were paid immediately. If a refund had to be recorded, it was impossible to reverse the cash purchase document. Instead, the user had to void it. In the latest version, this functionality has been enhanced. Now users can create a cash return document to register a full or partial refund for items paid immediately. On the cash purchases form, a new cash return can be created from scratch or by using the return action applied to a cash purchase. Additionally, cash returns are generated upon release of negative expense receipts recorded by employees to reflect refunds and rebates for purchases made with a corporate card. In the general ledger, cash returns debit the cash account and credit expenses. I am processing a refund for the cash purchase. The system copies all the details from the original transaction to the cash return. For a partial refund, you can reduce the document amount. If a 1099 vendor is used in a cash return, the amount to be reported on the 1099 form will be reduced. On release, the cash return posts a journal entry that debits cash and credits expenses. As demonstrated, starting from version 2024R1, you can easily process full or partial refunds for cash purchases. Terms and cash discounts in credit memos. Previously, users had no way to specify the due date and cash discounts in credit memos that were created in the system. For example, if a company offered a cash discount for a sale and the customer promptly paid the discounted amount but later returned the goods for any reason, the credit memo was generated without the cash discount, even though the seller was going to refund the discounted amount only. Additionally, in AR agent reports, credit memos were aged based on their document dates, as they didn't have due dates. For cash flow forecasting, the document dates were also used. To address these issues, we have introduced the new setting, Use credit terms in credit memos on the AR preferences form. This setting enables the terms box for credit memos in accounts receivable and order management. Once terms are specified for a credit memo, the system will calculate a due date and a cash discount amount according to the terms condition, just as it does for invoices. The due date will be used in AR agent reports, customer statements, and cash flow forecasting. If a credit memo with a cash discount is selected in a refund or payment, the system will suggest taking the cash discount if the payment is made before the cash discount date. I am going to process a credit memo for this invoice with a 3% cash discount offered. I have enabled credit terms for credit memos. That is why the terms box is editable for the document, and its value is taken from the original invoice. The due date and cash discount are calculated based on the terms, but they can be overridden if needed. If I make a refund for the memo within the cash discount period, the system will reduce the refunded amount by the cash discount. The feature can be activated or deactivated at any time. If a credit memo has a due date, this date will be used in agent reports and customer statements. Otherwise, the system will use the document date. If a cash discount was calculated for a credit memo based on the terms, it will be possible to take it in refunds and payments. Calculation of cash discounts on taxable amounts. Some companies offer a cash discount, also called an early payment discount, if a customer pays for a document before a certain date. In some countries, to calculate the cash discount, the company applies the cash discount percentage to the document total. In other countries, this percentage is applied to the taxable amount. Previously, users didn't have the ability to specify a base for cash discount calculations. The system applied the percentage to the document total unless the Canadian localization feature was enabled and selected for a company. In version 2024 R1, we have introduced the feature-independent ability to apply the cash discounts to taxable amounts. On the company's form, a system administrator can select a cash discount base, which can be either a document amount or a document amount less taxes. To calculate a cash discount, the document percentage will be applied to the base selected for a company issued the document. For products company, I have selected the document amount less taxes as a base for cash discount calculation. Now, if I create a taxable invoice with a 3% cash discount if paid within 10 days, the system will apply the percentage to the taxable amount to calculate the cash discount. Thus, if your company offers discounts on early payments, you can choose to calculate the discounts based on the document amounts or on the amounts before taxes.
Using Acumatica payments for card-present transactions. Acumatica Payments is an integrated payment solution which makes it easy to collect ACH and credit card payments from your customers. Acumatica Payments acts as your merchant bank, so you can collect payments from customers who use Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and other bank cards. In 24R1, we made it easier to collect card-present payments directly from Acumatica screens using integrated chip readers. This delivers a retail solution for customers who process a few transactions per hour. For higher volume retailers, we recommend an integrated point-of-sale solution. Acumatica Payments customers can purchase the hardware option that works best for their business. The first 4 options work directly with the Acumatica standard UI. The VivoPay device works with Acumatica mobile application for field service and remote applications. West Coast Turf is an Acumatica customer who utilizes the Move 5000 hardware for a completely wireless experience. Here I am in the Virginia office, ready to sell some snacks and swag. If a customer wants to purchase a bag of popcorn, then I can do this by starting a cash sale. I paste a template that is set up for a generic retail customer and highlight the Inventory ID field. Using an inexpensive USB scanner, I scan the barcode on the bag of popcorn. The system looks up the barcode, automatically associates it with an inventory item, and automatically sets the quantity to 1. Now I'm ready to collect the payment. I start by hitting Capture. My Lane 3000 terminal displays the amount to collect, and the customer either taps or swipes their credit card. The beep indicates that the card is read. The transaction is authorized and captured, and the transaction is marked as closed. You can process payments from several screens and perform refunds using the point-of-sale terminals. Refunds are initiated from the Payments and Application screen. Linked refunds are associated with a previously completed offer and can be processed without the card being present. Unlinked or blind refunds require special permission and are enabled on the Processing Center screen. Offsetting AR and AP balances. An Acumatica business account can be both a customer and a vendor. Therefore, some accounts have both an AR and AP balance. At the request of customers, we created a customization to net out balances to simplify payments and collections. Within the chart of accounts, I set up an offset account. This will be used to create a cash account, which will then track the netted amounts. A new payment method uses this cash account, so the system can automatically create AP and AR payments and apply them to the open documents. This is an example of a business account that is both a customer and a vendor. I created a single AP bill for $300 and a single AR invoice for $100. Instead of paying $300 and collecting $100, the system will simply pay the account $200. On the Offset AR and AP document screen, I get a list of accounts that will benefit from this process. The Exceptions tab shows accounts with unapplied payments. I check the Create AP Bank Payment box so I can process everything in one step. This way, the system will automatically pay accounts with a larger AP balance. I'll speed up the video while I pay the remaining balance with a check and retrieve the bill that was paid. You can see that the original bill has been paid by applying an AR balance of $100 along with a $200 check. After processing, the netting process closes documents by applying payments using the special offset account and payment method. This time-saving feature is currently available as a customization on the community pages. Based on feedback, we will add this as a core financial feature in the future. In this segment, we describe benefits of CRM and drill into case management enhancements. CRM coordinates cross-company workflows. The customer lifecycle starts with marketing, who qualifies leads and converts them to opportunities. Sales manages opportunities and quotes, which are easily converted to customers and orders. And customers are visible to everybody, including operations and the finance team. Customer support cases help coordinate and allocate all incoming work. In 24R1, we made several enhancements in case management, so let's dive deeper. Using case management, I can organize workflows for all inquiries, whether received via phone, email, chat, the Acumatica portal, or an external system. Customers use cases to organize everything from product returns to employee praise. Different class IDs drive different workflows using our no-code workflow engine. Cases are automatically assigned depending on case details, including the ability to escalate cases. In 24R1, we improved the ability to track commitments and enhance the way you close cases. This diagram shows a standard case workflow that I will demonstrate. After a customer opens a case, it is automatically assigned based on rules. The assignee can triage the case and easily reassign it or escalate if needed. The new owner can solve and close the case. This is an example of an incoming product question. The system automatically assigns an owner based on assignment rules. These rules can be configured to meet your specific needs based on data in the case. The case commitments are assigned based on the case class and severity. This includes requirements for the initial response time, subsequent response time, and resolution due time. In 2024 R1, we added time extensions to track service level agreements when severities are changed. We also added the ability to track the resolution time based on when support marks the case as solved. We maintain the current option to track the resolution time based on when the case was closed. Finally, we enhance the work calendar. The system utilizes break time and exceptions to calculate when cases are due. Returning to the case, notice that the resolution date is 7 days instead of 5 because support does not work on weekends in the schedules presented. The case owner calls the customer and adds notes. The incoming and outgoing activity times are updated, and the initial response due date is cleared based on the outgoing activity. Based on this call, support decides to escalate to a product specialist and increase the case severity. After escalating, the system will automatically reassign the case because I created a business event. When I change the severity, the resolution time changes. According to my case commitments, I now have 5 minutes to provide a resolution. As the case owner, I provide an answer to the case via email. On my email, I mark the case solution provided checkbox. Once sent, the email activity is marked as complete and the time to resolution is updated based on my settings. When I close my case, 2024 R1 gives me an option based on the case class to require case closure notes. In this case, I'll enter notes based on the setting. Acumatica 24 R1 includes several enhancements to improve time tracking on cases. You can utilize the new commitments on dashboards to keep cases on track and deliver stellar customer service.
In the payroll module, we've made improvements to the paid time off functionality. Providing paid time off is a critical part of the employee and employer relationship. Requirements can include complying with legal obligations, being competitive to gain and retain talent. Additionally, studies show that taking breaks and time off is essential to the employee's productivity and for their well-being. When designing your paid time off plans, you have many options to consider what will work best for your organization. You may be able to have one plan to cover all your employees' paid time off needs, or depending upon your locations and your industry, you may need to set up many types of plans. Once you've outlined your requisites for paid time off, you can set them up accordingly in Acumatica. So let's show you what this looks like in Acumatica. There is no limit to the number of PTO banks, so bank IDs can now be up to 15 characters long to have a more meaningful ID. Banding rules can be added for a tiered PTO based on the years of service. These rules can be unique per employee class. Accrual methods can now have front loading with a combination of total hours per year or percentage. Transfer date can be for a specific date, such as January 1 for the calendar year, or based on the beginning of the fiscal year or another date that works for you. It can also be based on the employee's anniversary date. Now employees can be assigned a probationary period before they are allowed to accrue or be able to take paid time off. The time period for the probationary period is in months, and it can be unique per employee class. The employee's probationary period can be overridden at the employee level setup. Adjusting an employee's PTO balance just got much easier. You can adjust a single balance or import a file to adjust multiple employees' balances at one time. I just want to call out there is a one-time setup of the PTO adjustment reference number, and you will have to add that to the payroll reference screen as well. A new report has been added to quickly view the employees' PTO balances. And now what I'd like to do is show you this in action in the database itself. Add a new PTO bank. We're going to apply banding rules. We have several options here, but I am going to choose total hours per year. I can do this by anniversary date or a specific date. I can choose any date I want. I'm going to leave it as January 1. Carryover can be none, total, or partial. I want to do partial. And then on settlement, when the employee is terminated, what do I want to do? I want to pay the balance. For employee class, I'm going to add a row. If I leave this blank, it applies to all classes. So to give this an effective date. Oh, and I'm going to allow negative hours too, and they can carry over 40. And this will apply to any employee that is not have at least 1 year of service or wherever my first band starts. And we will save. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what it looks like when you hire an employee. So this employee's information has been added. I am going to go in and give him a start date. The probationary period is automatically applied. I have the chance to adjust it if I want to, but I'm going to leave it as it is, and I will save. Okay, so now I want to go to employees' payroll balances, and I want to run the report for the year, January till April, let's say the 15th. And I can run this for one employee if I want to. I can run it for all employees if I want to. Just look at Jane Austen, and I can see that where I've ended this old vacation plan and added this new one, I still have a balance of $20.94 on her old vacation plan. I want to add it to this new balance here. So I can do that through PTO adjustments. So PTO adjustment. And we'll save, and we will release. Okay, I also can upload a file to make my adjustments as well. Okay, so that was a quick overview of our paid time off improvements. You can have a rollover for PTO on the anniversary date or a specific date. You can have tiered PTO based on years of service. The bank ID can be up to 15 characters. You have the option to add a probationary period and how the employee should accrue or be able to take pay time off. Front loading can be combined with accrual of hours or a percentage, and a new report to view the employee's PTO balances, and the PTO adjustment has been simplified.
Acumatica develops, maintains, and enhances some of our integrations applicable across various industries. In this next segment, we will cover enhancements in a few key areas available with 2024 R1 release. Acumatica customers can experience benefits of connecting to one of our two integrations to sales and use tax calculation engines, one to Vertex and the other to Avalara. With Avalara, you can easily calculate sales tax on committed as well as non-committed documents, and not just document level. On a sales order with multiple destinations, you're able to determine taxes at the line level as well. With our 2023 R1 update, we have introduced the calculation on use tax on AP bills, so Acumatica users can learn about their tax burden on AP documents. You can also improve your Acumatica records by using the integration to Avalara's address validation system to ensure correct addresses so that accurate taxes can be calculated. This is not only for single records, but also for bulk address validation that we introduced with our last release. This integration also extends to using geographic coordinates for when there isn't an actual address available. So with 2024 R1, we are announcing our integration to Avalara's exemption certificate management system. Streamline your customer's exemption certificate management without leaving Acumatica. With this ECM integration, you can easily create or update customer records from Acumatica to Avalara in bulk. You can retrieve customers' exemption status. You can view the certificates available for a customer that includes additional information, such as certificate ID, reason for exemption, effective date, certificate status, and more. And without leaving the Acumatica UI, you can leverage the email templates that are stored in your Avalara account to quickly and easily request customers for updated or new certificates. To demonstrate this functionality in Acumatica 2024 R1, once you enable the new exemption certificate management feature under external tax calculation integration, and you have configured your Avalara tax provider in the tax preferences screen, you'll be presented with a new ECM settings section where you can select your ECM provider. Then, when you're in a customer record, in the overflow menu, you will be presented with a few new options relating to this integration. You can create this customer record in Avalara or update the record if any changes were made in Acumatica to keep the records in sync. Using the Avalara address validation system, I will update this incorrectly entered address. Now, these actions can also be performed in bulk with our new Manage Exempt Customers processing screen. You can either elect to create or update customer records in bulk. Additionally, you can apply company code to these customers that are available in Avalara. The company code in Avalara corresponds to the branch in Acumatica ERP. To demonstrate, since we updated the customer record with the correct address, the system will display this as a pending change when I select the Update Customer in ECM Provider option. From here, I can choose to process the selected customers or process them all at once. In Avalara, when I'm viewing this customer record, it currently has the incorrect address. Now that I have used the Update Customer feature, when I refresh the page, I can see that this customer record was successfully updated. We also have a way to retrieve certificates for existing customers. This option opens a dialog box that can provide further details about the certificates associated with that customer. I can easily view the certificate ID, state, reason, effective date, expiration date, certificate status, as well as the mapped company code. I can also click on the hyperlink to the certificate ID to view the actual certificate in my browser, save it to my local machine, or print it. Back in Avalara ECM, there is a feature to create email templates for customers that you can use requesting for new or updated certificates. Once an email is ready to be used, you can invoke that template when you select Request Certificate option within a customer's profile. Choose the company code and email, select from a list of certificate request template emails that are available from Avalara, determine the country and state, and finally, an optional field with a list of predetermined reason for exemptions are also available for you to select. As seen from the demonstration, this integration expands the capability to provide a streamlined exemption certificate management experience, all from within Acumatica. Acumatica also manages a few external carrier integrations. The solutions range from direct FedEx and UPS integration to USPS via stamps.com interface, and we continue to maintain these integrations. We also have our more robust connectors to carrier aggregators. In collaboration with each partner, we continue to future-proof and enhance these solutions. They range from parcel shipment solutions such as EasyPost or ShipEngine, where you can instantly access over 100 carriers depending on your use case and your business growth, and also to specific solutions for freight shipments such as our integration and partnership to 3G PaceJet to fulfill needs specific to LTL, FTL, 3PL type shipments for distributors. In this next segment, we will cover updates to these carrier integrations. Starting with PaceJet to the core. The underlying integration has been improved significantly since we launched this integration a few years ago. We have worked closely with customers to enhance this integration since launch, and we are happy to announce that this integration is available within Acumatica Core. The workflow for our PaceJet integration allowed distributors to connect the most important areas of Acumatica to PaceJet. Again, depending on their use case, they can choose as much or few control. Throughout the process of fulfillment, a handshake occurs with PaceJet where we send relevant ERP data to the solution, whether it is on a sales order while shopping for rates, all the way to pick, pack, and ship process, including paperwork. Being in the core means that you're not required to deploy this as a customization. Once you have purchased this Fulfilled by Acumatica license, you're enabled to configure the connection to PaceJet and access their 70+ network of carriers to fulfill your freight and parcel shipment needs. We've also made updates to our FedEx and UPS connectors. Back with 2023 R1 update, we made changes to our FedEx integration to work with their new REST API. We have reworked that solution since then to allow our clients on SaaS platform to connect to either the sandbox or the production platform from within the same tenant. So so they are able to test their carrier configurations before going live. As a result, we introduced the new Client ID, Client Secret, and Login Endpoint parameters to address this. UPS also recently migrated to the REST-based platform, as well as using the industry standard OAuth 2.0 for authentication. Our integrations have been updated to connect to the new REST-based API using OAuth 2.0 for authorization and connection between Acumatica and the carriers. Next, there has been some changes to the USPS service methods. USPS is providing a new and enhanced ground solution for a more affordable way to ship packages that are delivered within 2 to 5 business days across continental US, combining with their popular last mile service. As part of this change, they're retiring their USPS retail ground and return service, USPS Parcel Select Ground, and USPS First Class Package Service and Return Service. These service methods are being merged and replaced by a new service called USPS Ground Advantage, and it also includes its own return service. We have upgraded our integrations to Stamps.com, EasyPost, and ShipEngine so our users can use this new service as the older service methods become obsolete. And finally, we have updated our ShipEngine integration to address a new carrier service. To provide a consistent and seamless experience to our users who are using the new Amazon connector that was introduced by our Commerce team with the Commerce Edition, we have updated our ShipEngine integration to allow the purchase of Amazon Buy labels. With this, you're able to access the already great rates negotiated by Amazon and the carriers and select those carriers, namely UPS, FedEx, and USPS, to streamline your shipping for a more positive experience for your customers.
Localization features. Acumatica delivers country-specific features on top of our core applications with the help of reselling partners, ISV partners, and OEM partners. Countries supported by the OEMs cannot share an instance with entities in other countries. In 2024 R1, we extended the use of plugins to make it easier to configure export files in the formats supported by Canadian banks. After enabling the Canadian localization feature, I created a new payment method called EFT. The direct deposit payment method can use the older export scenario or the new plugin. The plugin allows me to configure my file using menu options instead of an export scenario. Next, I set up a cash account that can utilize my new payment method. When the EFT payment method is assigned to vendors, bills can be easily prepared for payment using the standard process. I'm going to speed up the video as I create a bill, release the bill, prepare a batch payment using EFT, and process the batch payment in test mode to generate a sample file. Once my sample file is created, you can open it and transmit it to the bank. T5018 Services Reporting. In addition to streamlining bank payments, we improved government reporting for Canada. The T5018 report is used by construction companies to report services revenues to the CRA for subcontractors. Previously, the system did not allow customers to automatically distinguish services and products or specify a threshold for reporting. I will demonstrate the vendor scenarios illustrated here. In my system, I already enabled Canadian localization, set my services company to use the Canadian localization, and configured my company Canadian tax reporting. Finally, I set my AP preferences. I also set some non-stock items to record as T5018 services. I have two T5018 vendors in my system. The first is already configured. For the second, I select the action Enable T5018 Reporting. My first vendor has only $400 in services payments, so it will not appear on the CRA e-file. The second vendor receives payments for $600 in services and $400 in products, so I must include this vendor on my report. As I enter my bill, notice that the T5018 field is automatically assigned. Off video, I paid the 4 bills from my 2 vendors. When I am ready to e-file, I navigate to the Create T5018 e-file screen and prepare my report. First, I validate the tax year and threshold amount, then I prepare my report. Now I can view the report to validate my totals. Once satisfied, I create and upload the file to the Canadian Revenue Authority. The attached file is in XML format as illustrated here. After filing, I can amend or cancel a report if I make changes to my vendor payments at a later date. In addition to Canada, Acumatica has a localization which includes several UK-specific features, including electronic tax filing with the HMRC and BACS file formatting. Acumatica partners provide other localizations to support the needs of UK customers. Several of these items supported by UK partners are on the roadmap to add to Acumatica Core in future releases. Acumatica tools allow you to configure and manage your deployment without developers. In 24R1, we improved several processes related to system administration. Access rights enhancements. Community members requested that we improve the way we manage access rights. Currently, when all rights are not set, everybody gets access. This was the default behavior when you created new screens. The challenge was when an administrator assigned rights, such as revoked, to one user role, then all other roles remained not set but could no longer see the screen. Prior to 2024 R1, users would click a button to publish a new inquiry. The user would not be prompted to set access rights so everybody could see it. Now, customers receive a dialog box when they publish an inquiry that offers convenient options. I created a new inquiry called Current Ratio. On the Access Rights by Role screen, the rights are set so the person who created the screen can see it, but it's revoked for others. When I publish to the new UI, I have the option to assign specific rights. In this case, I will use the balance sheet access rights to replace the rights initially assigned. After publishing, I can see that my access rights have changed. Access rights changes impact system administrators and developers. Additional information regarding access rights will be shared in our developer session. Action sequences and workflow. Workflow is a key part of how Acumatica empowers business process experts to tailor the system without coding. In 24R1, we introduced the ability to automatically execute an action after another is triggered. Before 24R1, you needed to define conditions for sequential actions. This was not as efficient processing-wise and was complex to configure. Now sequences can run sequentially with or without conditions. I'll demonstrate with an example. With the standard workflow, I use the Take Case button to make myself the owner of the case. After making myself the owner, I always open the case to begin working on it. Using the new Sequential Actions feature, I can make the open action follow the Take Case action, saving me a step. In my customization project, I add the case screen and select the action Take Case. Within the Actions Executed on Success tab, I add the open action. In this example, I assign the condition true, but I could create another condition, so this may only apply when I take the case. Within the dialog box, I can assign a value to the reason. In this case, I set it to in progress. Next, I publish my customization. I'll speed up the video while this happens. Now I can work on a new case. When I take this case, I get a progress box that shows the results of my sequential actions. Action sequences can be applied to many workflows, such as shipments, closing cases, and managing invoices and memos. Restoring snapshots with custom columns. Snapshots are an easy way to copy all of your data for backup or transfer purposes. In 24R1, we enhanced the snapshot process so that custom fields are populated when you restore a snapshot from the ERP configuration wizard. This allows Acumatica support to better serve your needs when you have large databases. When creating snapshots, remember, each snapshot makes a complete copy of your database, which increases data storage. We recommend scheduling snapshot creation during off-peak hours. Thumbnail images in mobile lists. In 24R1, developers can add thumbnails to lists. This helps users visualize items before drilling into a specific object. Using the Mobile Development Kit, developers can add thumbnails to lists. For the photo log screen, this requires two steps. Add the file ID to the photo log screen, as I have already done here. And use a customization project to update the photo log screen using the Mobile Development Toolkit. Once I've published my customization project, I can see the results on my mobile phone. Mobile thumbnails are currently only available as a customization project. Look for it to become a standard part of the product in a coming release. Branch-specific mailing settings. Acumatica allows you to set email templates, mailing addresses, and attachment formats by branch. In 24R1, we made the setup process more intuitive. Preference screens are templates. This information is pushed to the class-specific settings. Then, the class-specific settings can be utilized or overridden at the document level. In this example, the Services East branch information was overridden for this customer. Thank you for learning about Acumatica 24R1. We hope you're excited to install the new release and take advantage of all the business benefits we just showed. This concludes the core platform and general business session. The retail and distribution editions will start shortly on a separate meeting.